Little cold weather for those in South Florida. We're not really used to it, but it is a beautiful day, and we are here enjoying our time together. You know, I love to chat a little bit with you guys about current events, things that are happening in the community. Of course, the Voice of the Caribbean family is still celebrating from the amazing Gemma Awards that was held last Friday. And if you're watching me online, shout out to everybody watching on the Voice of the Caribbean app. You know, you can bring us wherever you are. You can always log on, voiceofthecaribbean.com, and you can also follow me on my YouTube, Suzette Speaks YouTube. I'm live there as well. And you can always follow us on all social media, Voice of the Caribbean on Instagram, Voice VOTC Radio on Facebook. I see we're still using X and all the other platforms. They just Google Voice of the Caribbean and you should be able to find us. I want to welcome you guys. If you're not familiar with me, I do cover hot topics, social media trends, of course, a little bit of politics. And today we're going to have to get into some politics because the President of the United States, Donald Trump, did a joint address to Congress, a joint session of Congress, where he talked about the state of our union. I don't think he accurately portrayed what exactly is the state of our union. But we're going to talk about it. If you did watch it, I will admit I only watched it partially. I was coming from another community meeting, so I did get to see the walk-in. And there was a lot of back and forth between how the Democrats handled themselves during this State of the Union. There were people who were agreeing with them. They held paddles, kind of almost like auctioneer paddles, and signs that they put up in the air that had various messages on them during this speech. So Donald Trump walked into the chamber. He addressed for more than an hour, addressed the legislators. These are the United States senators, the United States House members, of course, members of the military, the Supreme Court, other cabinet members, people who he has appointed to lead the various cabinet posts in the United States government. Now, mind you, while he's doing this, we gotta say there's like a dual screen juxtaposed against the backdrop of what he and his right-hand man, Elon Musk, has been doing, which is, in fact, dismantling the very government he claims that he wants to use to serve his people. Now, as I'm looking at some of the changes that have been made, even as of just today, there has been an announcement made, it has not been official, that an executive order is hanging in the balance that should be released eminently, an executive order calling for the dismantling of the Department of Education, allegedly. This is something that has been discussed. The new Secretary, Linda McMahon, was just appointed, and Secretary Linda McMahon has made it no secret that she wants to put herself out of a job, and it seems as if the Department of Education, as we know it, is in jeopardy and may no longer even exist. That's the first announcement. There are about 4,000 people that are federal employees that work for the Department of Education. Of course, remember what it does. It provides additional funding. Of course, education is sponsored by or paid for by states, right? Each and every state in the United States has its own Department of Education. But on the federal level, they provide additional monies, additional dollars, billions of dollars, to help kids with disabilities, folks who have to have specialized educational pathways. Of course, it helps to undergird disadvantaged communities that also do not have the resources and funds. Remember, education in our country also, schools are paid for based on the tax base of the community that they're located in. So based on how much the property taxes are where you live, helps to develop the budget that the school board, respectively, generally speaking, uses to pay for education. So think about the funds that go to student loans. Think about the funds that go to specialized education for folks with disabilities, or I would just say advantages, but you understand what I'm saying. Folks who have different educational challenges, economic also challenges, and also the Department of Education enforces civil rights laws. That is, making sure people are equal under the law when it comes to education. Make sure no child or no students are being discriminated against in terms of how the school boards in the respective counties across this nation are conducting their service, right? Because education in the United States has been a right and a service up until now, quite frankly. So we can talk about that. I also do have a couple of special guest callers that should be calling in shortly. As you guys know, I always want to highlight the local races that are happening in and around South Florida, and that includes the city of Miramar. The city of Miramar elections are occurring March 11th. If you did not know, the city of Miramar is hosting its local municipal elections, citywide elections. Everybody who is a registered voter and a resident of Miramar, it is your time to step up and vote coming this March 11th. And I do have two candidates that should be calling in shortly that want to talk to you directly. And I told them, yes, please call so the people can hear from you why you're choosing to run, what you're hoping to bring to the city. Miramar is one of the larger cities and the more resourced cities. Their tax base, hey, it's very high. So what they do and how they hopefully will continue the leadership that the city has been experiencing and maybe even go in a different direction. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but we're looking forward to hearing from two of the candidates here. They will be calling in on the Suzette Speaks show live. I also wanted to talk about a little bit more about the State of the Union. It's not a State of the Union, it's a joint address of Congress. I need to not talk about that because it's only been a month or so, even though it feels a lot longer. The president does not give a State of the Union for his first address to Congress. He's just talking about his plans, what he has done so far, though. He has had major changes. And again, we're hearing one thing and we're seeing another, and we're going to talk a little bit more about those disparities. I also wanted to jump in about the federal workforce that has been downsized and continues to be gutted by Elon Musk, by the Trump administration, because they believe in smaller government, although we the people will be losing resources. So under Joe Biden, in a bill, I believe it was signed around 2019, President Biden, for example, expanded the resources available to veterans of the United States. Veterans Affairs was given an expansion, a significant expansion of about 80,000 workers in the federal government for veterans in order to make sure they had all of the resources, mental health, physical checkups and things like that, things that they needed. Joe Biden expanded that. Well, it is being reported that of those 80,000 workers, Elon Musk wants to get rid of 72,000 of them. So all the veterans hospitals and the VA benefits that they have been receiving, rightfully so in my opinion, seems like it will be no more. So 72,000 workers are expecting to be cut. Listen, these are real people. We're talking about the government, but these are real people with real families. 72,000 workers are expected to be cut from the Veterans Affairs Department, allegedly. 4,000 workers are now in jeopardy for the Department of Education based on the announcement we just heard that apparently, and I don't know that it's legal, that's the other part of it I want to discuss as also an attorney, whether or not an executive order is enough to close down an agency. We saw it happen with the USAID. Only Congress has the power of the purse until recently. Only Congress is supposed to have the power to create or destroy agencies by virtue of creating law. But this thing called executive order is being tested. So here we have Mr. Trump, the President of the United States, yet again, saying that he's going to issue an executive order to close the Department of Education. What does that mean for us? We're looking at also Elon Musk just having a couple of public appearances saying that he also thinks anything that can be privatized in government should be privatized, including things like the Postal Service, Amtrak. Now we're looking at also within the budget that was proposed by the Republican Congress, some of the largest cuts, proposed cuts to Medicaid that we've ever seen before. What does Medicaid do? Of course, I have my caller. I might have to break this up. I'm supposed to get to Amtrak is not a government, of course. Thank you, my YouTubers. Amtrak is not government run, but I think it is on the list to be privatized, allegedly. The CDC, Center for Disease Control, just had to rehire people that they fired, 180 people to be exact, because they fired people that were working on the avian flu, the bird flu that's causing the eggs to be so expensive. Yeah, that part. that are working on things like Ebola, working on the measles outbreak. We had a child die from measles. We actually got our first measles case in Miami. A high schooler in Miami tested positive for measles. It's here. And so 180 people that were fired from the Center for Disease Control, the U.S. government agency, the CDC, have now had to be rehired. Listen, I got to get more into what's happening, but I do have a special guest. She is running in the city of Miramar. I hope this is her. I see my phone line ring in. You can always call in 850-446-0562. Get you right in touch. 850, I'm breathing hard. Hey, 850-446-0562. Let me see if this is my special caller, one of my first guests today. Good afternoon. Who's on the line, please?
Good afternoon, Suzette. You have Avril Sherazade on the line.
Hey, it's Avril Sherazade. She is running in the city of Miramar. Good afternoon, madam. How are you?
I am just amazing, feeling honored to be here with such an honorable woman in history.
Hey, we're still working on it. We appreciate you. Thank you for making time to reach out to the Voice of the Caribbean family and all of our listeners who are tuned in. This is Miss Avril Sherazade. She is a candidate. Remind me, seat number 4?
Seat number 3.
Seat 3. Get me right, sis. Get me right. Thank you. Seat number 3. And she's going to tell us a little bit about herself. Tell us some more about your background and why you decided to run in the city of Miramar.
All right. So, pleasant good afternoon to everyone listening to Miss Suzette Speaks. I'm Avril Sherazade, and I'm a candidate for seat 3 in the city of Miramar. A little bit of my history in this Women's History Month. So I hail from Nassau, Bahamas, came to this country at 16 years old to go to college. And like many immigrants, higher education was on my mind and a prosperous new life in a new country. At 16 years old, of course, I was still very much a child, but I learned very early that I had to build my community around me. And so even as a child, I made connections with people for security and comfort. Being an immigrant is no joke, and being a young immigrant is even crazier. But I did. I made very, very good relationships with a lot of people, and Miramar was home base for me getting my feet wet in this country as an immigrant, grew into a professional, got fully educated, and decided that community was going to be the heartbeat of everything I did. I went to work for the federal government through the state government as a medical disability hearing officer for quite a few years. Met and married my husband. He was practicing law at the time, and he got me into real estate, and that's where I have been working as a profession for the past 8 years. Within the city of Miramar, though, that's home. And just like any mom, I fight very hard for my home. Over the past 15 years, as I've been a homeowner here, I have made myself a citizen of Miramar, not just a resident. Anyone can change a driver's license and become a resident. I've injected myself into the city by being present, being aware of the people, the processes, and taking note of the progress of our city. Being involved was very important to me, and so I made myself available to the city to volunteer as often as I can. It did 2 things for me. It taught me how this particular city government is run, and it taught me who the people of this city are. They've become my stakeholders in this election. I'm right here asking for a job for 145,000 people to trust me as the person making decisions on that day.
Fantastic. Again, we are speaking with live on the Suzette Speaks show. This is Miss Avril Sherazade, passionate community leader, longtime resident of Miramar, and candidate for Miramar Commission Seat 3. Remember, folks, the municipal elections will be on March 11th. She's talking about her professional background and her volunteer background, and why she wants your vote and why she believes she's the most qualified candidate for Commission Seat 3. Avril Sherazade, talking about being an immigrant from Bahamas. I didn't know that, sis. I was looking at the last name Sherazade, but I thought that was a Haitian last name or a Haitian Creole sounding name. Is your husband from Haiti?
So my maiden name is Avril Mackenzie from the Exuma Mackenzie.
Ah, Mackenzie. Yes. Okay.
Mackenzie. And yes, my husband is of Haitian descent. He is Brooklyn born, but he's a very, very amazing Haitian
I love it. Okay, now we know. Okay, if you didn't know, now you know. She's also, I'm reading your bio, proud mom of a 10-year-old son. Congratulations on that. I know that's not something that is too easy these days to be raising kids with all the pressures of society. But we're grateful to have her here again, Miss Avril Sherazard, running for Miramar Commission seat 3. She's talking about her commitment to Miramar. So talk about some of the new ideas or ways that you would apply your leadership if elected.
Okay, so for me, one thing that a lot of people are keeping their eye on is the growth in Miramar, and that also leads me to talk about affordability, a huge topic throughout the nation, actually, but specifically in Miramar, which is being notorious for one of the most hard to afford cities in South Florida. It's expensive to be a Miramar homeowner. And so some of the things that I come to tackle simply because of the real estate background I have is to deal with some issues with affordable housing, to make sure that home ownership is attainable and accessible, because generational wealth is critical to me. Growth in Miramar should be two-pronged. We should have availability for those who want to be a part of our vibrant city through rentals. That's amazing. We also need to make sure we're intentional about development opportunities that spur home ownership. And so affordability and accessibility for housing is big for me. Another thing is to make sure that residents feel heard and respected once they already own their home in Miramar. When you're dealing with city departments, I am big on customer service. I have a customer service background because I've worked for the residents of South Florida for a long time, both in government and as well as serving them in their real estate. Efficiency, clear communication, and accountability are high on my list of priorities. And so I want to make sure that we have easier access to city programs and services, that the red tape is cut pretty much away. We need responsiveness. We need answers to our calls when we try to get help from our city. I work with the Affordable Housing Advisory Board up until, of course, I ran for election. And one of the things that I always pointed out was, I know it's hard because this is the way it's done. I need us to find a better way, because I don't like residents to feel as though they're begging us for services. And so one of the things I really would like to do is the streamlining to get from asking for help and getting that help without the residents feeling like they're begging.
I love it. No, absolutely. Miss Avril Sherazard, we have about a couple minutes left. Miss Avril Sherazard is running for Commission Seat 3 in the city of Miramar. The elections will be March 11th. There's no early voting. It is just March 11th is the big day, okay? So make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend, anybody that live in Miramar. We're going through, we are asking candidates, all who want to come, you can come and speak to our audience directly. We have a heavy Miramar listenership. So all of those whose ears are perked up, we just want to bring you the information, and then you can make the decision. She has served on a board. You just spoke about the board that you served on. I want to talk to you real quick about also programs and the incinerator. Can you give me a minute on both? So programs are a very big part of the lifestyle of Miramar. Talk about any new programs or programs you wish to continue and where you stand on the incinerator that they want to build at the edge of the county right next to Miramar. You have a couple minutes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Good. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on these two hot topics. So one, programming. And if you're talking event programming, and let me tell you where my vision is. My vision for programming, and don't expect too much programs coming out of me. I am very, very service related. The events that go on are very well curated. We have the budget for them. We have the experience running them. The one thing I'd like to see is an intercultural event, and that's what I'll be spearheading. A series throughout the year where different cultures get to showcase the best of what they have to offer, along with another culture, another ethnicity. I know we have our silos in Miramar. We have our Hispanics, we have our Muslims, we have our Black community, we have our Indian community, we have our Asian and our Pan American population.
Yes, ma'am. And you have about 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Separate events for each of them. I want to have something where we're doing some stuff together.
Unity. Yes, real quick. Please get to it.
It does not need to be in our backyard. We need to keep our foot on the accelerator of the pushback. Keep it away from my kids. Keep it away from our homes. We want our environment safe and clean. Stay away.
Thank you. And that's our time. We wish we had more time, but Ms. Avril Sherazard, thank you for speaking to our community here on Voice of the Caribbean Radio. Again, the election is March 11th, and she is running for Miramar Commission Seat 3. Where can they find more information about you and your race?
By all means, I'm accessible at 305-417-9242. 305-417-9242. Avril@gmail.com.
All right, Avril for Miramar.com, y'all. Thank you, Miss Avril. Have a great day. More Suzette Speaks after this, y'all. Don't go nowhere.
Family law, Jamaica probate and real estate conveyance. Attorney Oakley.
That's our time, love. Thank you so much. Okay, have a good day.
Andrews Avenue, Suite 406 in Fort Lauderdale, and 4727 North University Drive in Lauderdale, 954-358-2020. And in Jamaica at the Dunrobin Plaza, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Suite 10, telephone 876-755-4594. Thanks, Flogen Legal Team, for your
Hey guys, what's up? Drop a comment. Drop a comment if you want me to go back to doing the live shows where I'm interacting with you and doing like panel discussions. Somebody asked me about that. I was getting my hair did yesterday and they were like, you don't do your live shows no more when you're doing like a topic and panel discussions. Drop a comment if you would prefer if I do that again. Maybe just daily or small 15 to 20 minute. Oh, I miss you too, the world class. Just wanted to see if that's something that you're still interested in. And yeah, how I can work it in my schedule is the next thing. But just let me know if that's something that you're interested in. If those are watching Team Replay, let me know if that's something you're interested in. I had to run and get my station manager because my recording looks like it's not recording. The camera here is fully shut off. And the monitor, I should say, is fully shut off. So I cannot see that this is actually being recorded. I'm trying to upload both this version and a version where you're seeing like 4 different cameras. Camera here, you can see it there. Can I touch it? Yes, I can. Camera there. There's cameras in the corners, cameras behind. So I also have a version of this show where it's almost like Breakfast Clubby, but you'll be able to see it. But I can't see that the recording is happening, but apparently she's telling me the recording is happening. I guess our signal in here is low. So I do have one more political call. Again, with the rules around running for office, you have to give people equal time if they request it. So the election is coming up really shortly. And yeah, so we got to give everybody equal time. If they ask for it, we interview them. So everybody's getting like a 10-minute interview. So, and I also have a friend girl who's also running, and she should be calling next. So that's why I'm trying to squeeze this in while I actually do my commentary as well. I wanted to talk about the interruption by Representative Al. You know I'm not in Jamaica. This is Miami, boo. No, this is the studio. I host my radio show every Thursday and Friday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Right? So I'm live in the studio. We're just in the studio. I'm at an official FM radio station that I'm broadcasting from. So my show is now on the FM dial from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. every Thursday and Friday. So that's when I've been going live typically, and then I'm just giving you clips on my shorts of when I go out or host an event. I had 2 amazing events. Sorry if this is giving me a little bit of refracted light. I can't control in here. I actually need to find if we can get a couple extra lights from behind. But yeah, I hosted the Jamaican International Music Awards on Friday, and if I do say so myself, I killed that. I had such a good time. We had great performances by classic reggae artists, new reggae artists. So if you don't listen to reggae, if you don't listen to dance hall, you probably won't know what I'm talking about. But J. Calm has a big song out. He won Shensia. I don't know if you know that name. Her son took her award or accepted her awards on her behalf. We had Mud Cobra. He's an old school artist. I don't know if you know the song Girlflex, time to you know it. He performed. Old school girls group called Whirl a Girl performed. Lady G, another old school artist. There was amazing performers, as well as we had a chance to honor the people who are the true pioneers of production, of live mixing, the gentleman who invented live mixing in reggae, sound clashes, what you're used to as a DJ now all over the world. He was there, a gentleman named the Toulouse. And I had fun. It was like watching living legends do their thing. And also it was neat to have the opportunity to honor them for us, by us, if you will. Not like the Grammys where it's like people who don't really know the genre or don't really understand who the players are, the history are, the people beside the name Marley. Love my Marleys, but it was like you were it was like honoring your own. And I think it's important to do. So anyway, I had a good event also, my own event, Politicking and Networking Social. I will be posting about it today. I just got the pictures back finally, and that was amazing. Over 100 people came. I just do, if you don't know, professional networking mixers for people to get to know one another. What's up, my boss? My boss just walked in. Hey, we live.
We live?
The monitor don't, but she said it's a record. It's a record? No, just kidding. Can't tell voice. But if it's recording, big up Mike every time. When I talk to me YouTube, mama people. I can't see. That's okay. He's coming in to make sure it's recording because I want y'all to see that version. But we're here.
I question actually. Didn't our first lady just say that she want to do more events?
She said she wanted to do unity events, but she didn't say she wanted to do more events, which I thought was bogus because Miramar is known for its events.
And remember, I've been doing unity
events like this. Yeah, I was just like, she don't know. So we can't talk about them, but
why she say that, man?
I know, and it's not true. So I have another candidate. Don't mess up my live because apparently it's still recording.
Okay.
It's still recording. Hey, everybody who's watching over there. But yeah, for whatever reason, the monitor went down. So big up Mike who is helping to get me back in order. Let me get some water. Oh, did you want me to record the show today?
This one?
The second one for tomorrow. I can pre-record it right after this if it's
yeah, record.
I mean, I don't know if because how we're gonna do it 225 minutes or what? I don't have to do it, but I can't come tomorrow. If you want, but yeah, I thought about it today. I'll let the people them know. Mikey, you all in my my thing right now. Because you got me all my stuff and I tilted a little bit earlier.
You don't see it?
They are seeing it,
or email at teddyupholster@gmail.com. Teddy Upholster is located at 5618 Northwest 8th Street.
As you would say, how I'm drinking my water, it's like right there. That's how it is. So we got both angles. All right, we're getting ready to go back live, y'all.
Foundation from birth, here man, I love it culture.
And so Carrie Ann is supposed to call
representing for the voice of the Caribbean, Jamaica and far beyond.
WQPN 94.3 LPFM, North Miami.
Yo, it's Shaggy. It's voice of Caribbean. 1021 Shaggy on your dial. We can well. I'm in the middle. Yeah.
The voice of the Caribbean. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, and YouTube.
Yeah, this is Suzette Speaks Show Live. Big up on herself. Welcome, everybody. If this is your first time joining me, I am Suzette Speaks, radio host here on Voice of the Caribbean. We have an amazing talk show. Listen, when the people want to talk to the folks, to the community, this is where they come to talk, right? So big up Miss Avril Sherazade, Bahamian American. I had no idea. Married to a gentleman of Haitian descent. So we do have the Caribbean link there, running for Miramar Seat 3. You heard her. She has a passion for the community. And again, the elections will be on March 11th. So please check out her website, avril4miramar.com. I should be having another candidate call in just shortly. But I got to talk the talk because I really want to address what happened during the president's joint address to Congress. Namely, I want to talk about the disruption. Somebody say disruption. Disruption that we saw occur. Now, one of the congressmen, Al Green, decided to protest. And as I was getting into it before Ms. Sherazade called, one of the congressmen, one of the 435 people that were elected from each of the states to represent their district, he is a United States representative from the state of Texas. He decided that during Mr. Trump's address that he was going to stand up and in a verbal protest. I'm going to play a little bit of it because I want you to hear it for yourself. Representative Al Green, eventually, due to this protest, was escorted out of the chamber. This happened a day ago, folks. I'm talking about the joint address. Now, mind you, I told you I didn't watch it from beginning to end. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't feeling it because I know that a lot of the information that was being shared weren't factual. I also have a problem with some of the political winds in terms of the policy, winds as in blowing, the way the winds are blowing. The policy that Mr. Trump is espousing, I don't agree with, especially when it comes to Ukraine. And what happened in the Oval Office, that we talked about it last week, and it was happening live, actually. We didn't get to talk about it in actuality because I was here watching it unfold when I was on the radio with you. And what we saw was a fallout. It seems as if some people say it looked like a setup. Me not call it so. Some people say it was a setup. Mr. Trump and Mr. Vance sat there and berated President Zelensky, Volodymyr Zelensky from the Ukraine came to me because you see the pictures of him meeting with the Congress people leading up to this Oval Office meeting. Has pictures high-fiving, smiling with United States Senator Amy Klobuchar, met with her in her office. He had several meetings with government officials before he went into the Oval Office. And what went down, went down. You can watch it for yourself. But in addition to that, we saw that the Democrats, I do not understand the strategy, but during this speech, we saw several takes on what they could do to show their disapproval for this president, right? The first one, them said some people did not attend. There was a huge showing on the Roland Martin channel. Shout out to Roland Martin. Y'all don't know. Some of you may not know. I do serve as a political commentator for him from time to time as a guest commentator talking about politics. Roland Martin is one of the most prominent African-American journalists out there. He has his own YouTube channel. I'm trying to tell you about sources where you could get some real information. That's why I'm mentioning it. So he said he was going to have a counter broadcast where he was going to talk all black everything from the millennials to the boomers to housing to education to labor. He said he was going to do a counter broadcast instead of our eyes and ears focused solely on what the president was saying. Now, I do think you have to pay attention to when the president speaks. Otherwise, you don't know what's going on. But Mr. Roland Martin, his broadcast, I could probably have done a 5-hour broadcast and just talk. Mm-hmm. Because when he finished, he had 1 million views. At one point, it was 250,000 in a community watching together, a platform by a black man for black people, discussing issues that affect black people. So when I start watch him, no, my heart just get warm. It said 250,000 one time. Over 1 million, and he keeps restreaming it. Go check it out. It's something that you can learn from because I was just listening to all the policy, the actual policy that was being discussed. But as you know, the Democrats have very little power right now. This is the problem. This is why we say elections matter. And for people who say every party is the same, it's the same system, it's the same, you're finding out. They have very, very different policy views. Now we are going to all feel the repercussions of a tariff war that President Trump is initiating, sending prices of goods up for Americans. It's not the people who send the goods that pay the tariff. It's the people that buy the goods that pay the tariff. Get ready, folks. So I'm going to talk about this one protest that happened. United States House of Representative member from Texas, Al Green. He's known for his political activism. Some decided, because why I brought up Roland Martin, some of the U.S. House reps, they were appearing on Roland Martin's show down the street from the Capitol, right? They didn't go. They were on Roland Martin's couch instead, talking about their views and thoughts. You also had some that held up signs. Like I said, it had small paddles, kind of circular, almost like an auctioneer's paddle. Some said save Medicaid. Some said Elon Musk steals. Some says, stop the lies. All of these different political statements that were held up. But Mr. Al Green decided that he was going to make a stand, quite literally. An elderly man. He is not, He might be in his 70s, I would guess. But he had repercussions today for this outburst. Now, at the time, I'm going to play a little clip of it. When Mr. Trump was speaking during this joint session, the president addressed Congress talking about his plans. But today they voted to censure Mr. Green, and I'll talk about what that actually means. But let me play a little bit of the clip first of what actually happened so you can hear for yourself. Representative Al Green tried to stand up and yell back at him, "You don't have a mandate to cut Medicaid. You don't have a mandate to cut Medicare." That's what he was screaming. The Republicans on the other side of the aisle were yelling out, "USA to drown him out, USA to drown him out." And then the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, decided that you got to go. He asked the Sergeant of Arms to escort him out of the chamber during his speech. I'm gonna let it play for itself. Let me let you hear what happened.
Big numbers and one counties in our country.
Again, this is a clip from what took place during President Trump's joint address to Congress. I want to talk about how the Democrats can better use their voices, because it seems as if they are a party in disrepair. They are not sure how to address the truths and the lies about what's really happening. But one United States representative, Al Green, from the great state of Texas, stood up with his cane in his hand, pointing his cane towards Mr. Trump at the front of the room, yelling out to him, "You have no mandate to cut Medicaid." Let's continue to listen.
In one counties in our country, 2,700 to 525, on a map that reads almost completely red for Republican.
So at this time, Mr. Trump is pointing towards Representative Al Green, giving the signal to get him moved out of the chamber, the thumb to the side, shaking his hand, "You got to go." You hear while Al Green is trying to protest, yelling at the president, the crowd of the Republican representatives are yelling USA to drown out his words. And this is what happens. Continue listening.
Now, for the first time in modern history, more Americans believe that our country is headed in the right direction than the wrong direction. In fact, it's an astonishing record, 27-point swing, the most ever. Likewise, small business.
At this time, Representative Green is still standing. And here comes the position of the Speaker of the House, Mr. Johnson, Mike Johnson, giving a warning and then requesting that the Sergeant of Arms remove Mr. Green.
This optimism saw its single largest one-month gain ever recorded, a 41-point jump.
Members are directed to uphold in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning. Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to Sergeant at Arms to the joint session.
So he warns Representative Green. He stands with his cane, looking directly into Trump's face from where he's seated in the chamber, and says, "You have no mandate to cut Medicaid." and you hear Speaker Mike Johnson give a warning, if you continue to disrupt, you will be removed by the Sergeant at Arms.
Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant at Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the...
As they're clapping, the Sergeant at Arms approaches Mr. Green, and he is removed from the chamber. It is a harrowing scene, folks. Afterwards, in interviews, Mr. Green said, at some point, we are all going to have to stand up. That's the words of Representative Al Green, who spoke with ABC News after he was escorted out of the chamber, and said he'd welcome any consequences that come with his disruption. Well, mind you, now, I got to point out a couple things. The House has now voted. Now, this is ceremonial in a way, censuring some member of the House chamber, United States House of Representatives. They use it to almost wag a finger at, what do we say, admonish their membership for bad behavior. It doesn't cause him not to, lose his power to vote, doesn't remove him from his seat. It has no real teeth, but it is almost like a ceremonial way of saying, we don't approve of your behavior. We're going to censure you. Well, the House voted this morning, just as we were coming on air right before my show started. The House voted Thursday to censure and give a warning, basically, to Democrat Al Green over his outburst during Trump's speech to Congress on Tuesday night. This is what I'm really curious about. 10 Democrats, I'm going to read their names, also agreed with the censure. 10 Democrats. The Republican-led effort passed 224 to 198 with 2 members voting present, one of them being Mr. Green himself. 10 Democrats voted for the resolution to censure. I'm going to call their names. I had to open up my email because I recorded it in my email. I said, no, I got to call out the names. Because what are we doing? These are the folks who claim to be Democrats. If you are in opposition of what's happening, what do you expect him to do? What should they be doing? Let me open up my list here. These are the Democrats that, as of this morning, voted to censure. The following Democrats confirmed a yes vote to give a reprimand to United States Rep. Al Green for standing up during the joint session of Congress. Henry Cuellar, Democrat, Texas. Ed Case, Democrat, Hawaii. Don Davis, Democrat, North Carolina. Chris Pappas, Democrat, New Hampshire. Mary Peltola, Democrat, Alaska. Marie Glusenkamp Perez, Democrat, Washington. Jared Golden, Democrat, Maine. Gabe Vasquez, Democrat, New Mexico. Susan Wild, Democrat from Pennsylvania. And David Scott, Democrat from Georgia. Now you tell me, what team are we on? What team is playing for who? What team? What team? Tell me what team. Just tell me. Because some people said people should have stood up and turned their backs. Democrats should have in protest. There are others that say you shouldn't have gone. Democrats should have walked out together when this disruption occurred and when United States Representative Al Green stood up for what he thought was wrong, not legitimizing what was being said, standing to his feet, telling the president, you have no mandate to cut Medicaid. And the next day, we see 10 Democrats who have voted to agree to censure him. It's very interesting. Meanwhile, we have word that the Department of Education, as we know it, that Mr. Trump is preparing an executive order. Now, again, I don't even know that it's legal that he does this, but he's doing it. There's nobody stopping him. To dismantle the Department of Education of the United States of America. The Department of Education is vital in maintaining equality in our school system, is vital in the education, for the education of disadvantaged students across this country, students with disabilities. Their needs have to be addressed. Thanks to the work of the Department of Education, there are 4,000 employees that stand to lose their jobs that currently work for the Department of Education. This is what we're talking about. This is what y'all... We're looking at the Department of Veterans Affairs. President Biden had expanded this department to make sure our veterans would be taken care of. He added 80,000 federal workers across the country. Think about us. We're over 300 million people. 80,000 workers really isn't a heck of a lot, but they were there to serve the veterans of the United States. And here we now have an announcement that Mr. Musk, Elon Musk, who was not elected by anyone, not confirmed by United States Senate, not in any way possessing the authority that this president thinks he's going to bestow upon him. And they are ready now to cut 72,000 Veterans Affairs workers. We got Department of Education on the chopping block. And we have been hearing about the largest ever proposed cut to Medicaid. Are we awake? Are we in fact awake? So what should the Democrats be doing? Because remember, votes are what control. The people in the majority, if you have the most people, you control. And right now, the executive branch, the president of the United States, is controlled by Mr. Trump, also a Republican. The United States Senate, when they confirm people, like the new head of the Department of Education, like they did, was along party lines. 51 Republicans, 45 Democrats in there voted for her? But the Republicans have the majority. They control. They control the United States House of Representatives. Democrats only have 215. Doug asked me online, were they effective at their jobs? I think for the people that they were serving, you'd have to ask the people that they were serving. Because this idea of branding all federal workers as somehow how they were lazy or ineffective or they're just killing dead weight. No, there are several. If you can just do your own research, guys. I don't have time even right now. I got 3 minutes to go into the various critical jobs that this federal government performs. And that unfortunately, we have to be firing them first and then hiring them back, like the people from the CDC, 180 being rehired now because they were so critical to the welfare of this country and its health, the public health. Researchers in measles. We have a measles outbreak. The first one in Miami has just been found in a high school student. Killed a young child in Texas. We have measles outbreak going on. We have bird flu. But you are firing CDC professionals who have institutional knowledge. It's something to be said when you are on a job for 10, 20, and 30 years. This idea about efficiency, they were inefficient. We got to get rid of them. We will see. IRS agents gone. I hope I got to file my taxes soon, too. I got to do that because I don't know what's going to happen. This is a new day. Tomorrow, I will be attending a conference. I don't know that I'll be live tomorrow. I'm going to see if I can do a pre-recording because tomorrow, I'm not promising y'all, we might play music. Tomorrow, I will be at a convention for Black attorneys, statewide convention, being held here in Miami. I'm looking forward to the camaraderie. I'm looking forward to the agenda. we'll be doing some continuing legal education. You know how you have to do your continuing training. But we have some powerhouses that will be speaking to us at St. Thomas University Law School. I'm looking forward to being a part of it. So I will be doing my legal brush up tomorrow. So I will not be here. I'm going to go see if Mike can record me. If he can record me, no, I'm going to do a little short board. If not, I'm going to hold it till next week because there's just so much to talk about, folks. The news moves so quickly. I do want to encourage you, though. They are protesting at the, oh, no, I can't encourage you to go to the protests, but I want to encourage you that there are people that are standing up to what's happening, like Representative Al Green, who he said he would happily be censured if it meant that his voice and his vocal opposition was a part of this record, and that people would not be allowed to make this all look like it's normal. I want to know, where are the courts? If we have no enforcement mechanism in the United States, what is our system? And we have other countries looking to us for leadership. Now we are ceding our leadership role. There's so much more I can say about this, guys, but I have to go. It's Suzette Speaks Show. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram, Facebook, all of that. Voice of the Caribbean on Instagram, Facebook. And I appreciate you. Thank you for listening.
Women's Nightclub presents Upscale Saturdays. This Saturday night, March 8th, is legendary selectors in the building. Yes, it's Mikey Mike, King Waggy T.
I appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Doug. I'll talk to you.
Women's Nightclub and Restaurant is located at 4260 North State Road 7 in Lauderdale Lakes. That's Moments Nightclub and Restaurant. This Saturday night, Upscale